How are we, boys? Fingers crossed. By the wonders of technology, the sound of you both should be perfect. Tank, how are you? Oh, you dick. Don't even... Don't even...
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
You nearly had me there. Your sound sounds perfect. So if you just sit
Good.
still for the rest of the podcast, we should be good, mate.
Do not move.
Do not move.
I won't move.
Cramp up. Jimmy, how are you, mate? You good?
All good, mate. You? Good holiday?
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good, mate. I am. I definitely should have took today off work. I'm absolutely knackered. You know, it's just, I don't know if we spoke about this on the past podcast, Jim. You know that, and Tank's Wi-Fi went, but I think we're all equally as stressy at the airport. That was a brutal journey. Getting over there, nearly missed the flight over, despite getting there 3 hours before. Panicking about losing suitcases, searching Dublin airport on Twitter and hearing horror stories. I honestly, mate, I was an absolute wreck. By the time we got there, it was a good job. It was all inclusive because I just laced through about as many beers as I possibly could.
That's a good thing about early flight, isn't it? Once you're there, then, aren't you? What time do you land? About 10, 11 o'clock?
Yeah. So, and I'd done being ever the organised one. I'd done pre-check-in at the hotel, so we just had to coast straight through. So by 12 o'clock, sat by the pool, beer in hand. No, it was deadly, mate. A really good trip.
Good, mate.
But if you haven't done it before, anyone listening, holiday villages, they are the future with anyone with kids, because basically they just box the kids off and then the adults can just sit and booze. It was brilliant.
I can't believe we only just do it. We've done all inclusive since God knows when, with the kids clubs, all the slides and that, mate. It's just so much easier. We did it before we had kids, just for me. Kids club.
Yeah, I swear to God, I actually just don't want to see another sangria or beer. You know, when you're like, what? By the way, what's the socially acceptable time
10
on all inclusive to get a beer? You're saying 10. Tank,
when we were in Egypt, we gave a guy called Hanny, shout out to Hanny if he's still around, like an early tip, early doors. And 10 a.m. he'd come with like 5 gin and tonics. He'd be on it straight away. Loved Hanny. Yeah, bang on it. He was good lad.
What about you, Tank?
I think 11 o'clock's all right, and I just get the kids breakfast fed and everything, and just dismiss them. Then you can crack on.
Yeah, it's like that universal signal. If you give your mate the eye and you're like, you give him the little hand, you give the little hand wobble, like, oh yeah, oh hello, yeah. So yeah, 11 o'clock was my time, but I just wanted to double check, lads. While I've been away, right, I tried to stay away from Twitter and all that, but there has been a lot of breaking football news, and we're going to start. Well, actually, Jimmy put out a poll before on whose name Tank is going to get wrong first.
I actually voted on that.
All of them.
All of them.
But we're going to start off with Ronaldo, right? Because so Tank, I don't think we've got any issues here. Obviously, one of the biggest players in the world. His transfer to Manchester United caused the stir in many ways. We've spoke about it at length on this podcast. Was he going to fit into the system? What impact was he going to have? Tank, I'll start with you. It's probably a surprise to some, maybe not to others, that he now looks like he's going to be on his way out of Manchester United. A, are you surprised? B, can you blame him?
Not surprised, and I don't blame him. He's probably one of the top 3 players to ever grace the game ever, and he's probably in his last year or two, and the last thing he wants to do is be playing on a Thursday night at Old Trafford in the Europa League. He's better than that. We spoke many times on this podcast that it was a bizarre signing anyway for United. They're looking for a rebuild and they're signing a 36-year-old man. And look, he scored goals, but I just don't think it was the right fit for both parties, really. He doesn't want to come into a squad what needs rebuilding, and he wants to go to like a Juventus, like he did do, who's already challenging and winning things. And I just think it was a bad move all round. And it's going to end in tears again, isn't it, really?
Jim, where would you put? Because obviously you've been a big fan of what Ronaldo has done this season. Yeah. Would you classify the transfer as a success, given what he did on the pitch, but also, I suppose, what's the negative press that it's now bringing?
I would say it was commercially a success, but it's always going to be, isn't it? When you bring a player of Ronaldo's caliber into the club, especially with all the sentimental emotions behind it. On the pitch, I think he did what he came to do, and that's score goals. I think he was surrounded by average players. I think he's waited until now to see what Ten Hag has to say and who he's bringing in. And he's probably waiting and not seeing enough quality coming through. They're signing players in positions they don't need to sign, and he's probably thinking, this is going to be another season like that. As Tank said, he's got maybe one, two. Well, probably got 3 or 4 in him if he goes and goes to America or somewhere along them lines. But he's probably got 1 or 2 top tier seasons, and he wants to go and do something that he's not going to get at United. So I can't blame him, to be honest with you. And I don't think the United fans will blame him, to be honest with you.
At this stage, Tank, with all the noise that surrounds Cristiano Ronaldo, like this is just going to rumble on and on. As a new manager coming in, you couldn't be faced with a worse situation, because it's only going to create negativity and distract players. Are they better off just getting shut and getting this done? Because it's not going to turn around anytime soon.
No, you've got a feel for him coming in. You're coming in, your biggest superstars all of a sudden. But as Jimmy just said then, he's probably looking and thinking, we've signed a left back or a right back for 30 million no one's ever heard about, in a position where they don't need defenders, they really do. But they don't need full-backs. No. They need centre-halves. And they're looking at, he's probably thinking, as a young kid from PSV come in and like 13 million, that's not an inspiring sign, really, is it? And I spoke to one of my pals today, and we was talking about United and that, and I just threw it out there to him, and I think he might have got wind that this young deal's not going to come on. That could be the first fuck up of a spelling there. But I'm not too sure that he might be getting.
You'd have got away with that. If you hadn't said anything, you got away with that.
But, he's such an elite and your name in the game, and he'll know the ins and outs of everywhere, and he might be getting wind that this signing's actually not happening. I mean, the news is coming from Barcelona is that he's staying and they're not selling him. But the United are still pursuing and still going down the route to try and get him in. Me personally, I think the best for Manchester United would be just to say, go, thank you very much. You've had one good season for us. You come to, you score goals, but we're in a rebuild, and get him off the wage bill.
Yeah, it's mad and we'll come to Mo Salah later on when you're talking about the size of the salaries. Obviously, where Mo Salah now is on his new deal, and you compare that to what Cristiano Ronaldo is on, like it's outrageous. Jim, are you looking at this now saying, okay, Man United really need to start rebuilding? Because I know when I look at this, and I think I said this when he joined, Cristiano Ronaldo will always score goals. I'm not sure he helps where the club wants to go in the long term, in that, would Man United not be better off blooding players for the future, making sure that you have high press, high energy players, across the front three. They buy into the way that the new manager wants to play in terms of Ten Hag. I'm not necessarily sure Cristiano Ronaldo fits the type of player or profile that he would be after. Do you think this could be, in a roundabout way, a blessing in disguise for Man United, or is it difficult to say that?
I wouldn't say blessing in disguise, because if I'm a young player, and it looks like they're signing young players, doesn't it? De Jong, they're after Anthony, Martinez from Ajax. These are young players. And if I'm coming onto a club and Cristiano Ronaldo's there, then I want to play with Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think getting rid of him does not detract from the team. What it probably does is, like you say, allows younger blood to come through. But could they value the presence and the knowledge that Cristiano Ronaldo brings for another season? I don't think Ten Hag wants to get rid. I think he wants to keep him. But I think Ronaldo just had enough, and he's just like, I can't see this going anywhere. As Tank says, he doesn't want to play in the Europa League. This isn't a Man United choice, because commercially the wages probably don't even come into consideration with the amount of money he brings into the club. So I think this is a Ronaldo decision, not a Man United one.
It's funny, there was noises coming out today that Ragnick actually said that he wanted Ronaldo out the club in January. It all screams of needless negativity for me. The baggage that Cristiano Ronaldo would bring. Simon Jordan, who you know I'm a big fan of in terms of, I know I bring him up every podcast. I actually listened to his book while I was away on holiday, and for anyone that hasn't listened to his book, you definitely should. It was very good. But he said something today where it's nearly like Cristiano Ronaldo needs a ready-made outfit to go in and make an impact. And if you look at the setup, by that he means he's going to score goals anywhere, don't get me wrong, but he needs to go into a team that is competing and built to provide him with the platform to perform. Whereas with Manchester United, he's not going to get that. It's a project. Man United is a project. They need project players, and Cristiano Ronaldo isn't going to commit that time to be a project.
I don't know what Simon Jordan's expecting Cristiano Ronaldo to do. Is he expecting him to score 50-odd goals and win him the Premier League? He's gone there to do what he's done in a bad team. I think Ronaldo's getting a lot of negative press because it's Cristiano Ronaldo and he's there to be shot at. I think from his perspective, he's gone into United, done what he needs to do, and it's, you know, if the project needs building, that isn't his fault. I
disagree with that. I think he made Man United a much worse side.
No, I disagree.
Much worse side. You look at the players surrounding Cristiano Ronaldo, his antics, just throwing the arms, walking off, sulking. You look at Rashford, who I hate when Rashford plays against Liverpool because he always destroys us. Rashford had the worst season of his career, probably. Jadon Sancho, probably the worst season of his career to date.
Well done for saying, Jadon. Well done.
I've got that right. Got it written down here. Bruno Fernandes, the worst season that he's ever had. He made that Man United side worse, and I think if the
are you putting all them down to Ronaldo having a bad season?
It's a very good, strong coincidence for me. I mean, his arms. Can you imagine, like Rashford looking up to? He's probably idolised Ronaldo when he was young, coming through the academy, and then Rashford does a mistake or something. Ronaldo's arms are going in the air and throwing his toys out the pram. That's going to affect all of their confidence.
Jim, you were an arm thrower.
I was going to say I can't say anything because that's me, and I can imagine that it's not great to play with. But I don't think you can have a season as bad as Jadon Sancho, who's scored 2 goals, got minimal assists, down to Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't.
I'm not saying it's wholly down to him, but I just think that it's the whole of.
Do you think it's a culture thing, Tank?
It's a culture thing with him, and he's a superstar. You know, everyone's going to be looking at him in awe, and if he's slaughtering you in the pitch and having a pop at you, what's he doing in the training ground? What does it mean around the training ground if young kids are popping balls into him?
He's gone from scoring 40-odd goals a season to being in that. You're not going to be sitting there going, "Oh yeah, nice pass, mate."
Well, what did he expect?
He never scored 40-odd goals a season in Juventus the last couple of seasons.
They were certainly higher than what he got anyway. But
I think it was the similar mark.
He still won the league, though.
What would you expect? Like when he made that decision, Jim. What was he expecting? Because Man United, you know,
thing is, if you're signing for Man United, they were bringing Jadon Sancho in as well, weren't they? In the same transfer.
And Varane, I suppose.
And Varane, yeah. You're thinking, you know what? That's a decent start. And I bet he's been told there'll be other signings coming in and X, Y, and Z. We've got Rashford, who's one of the hottest young lads, and he's gone, yeah, you know what, I can buy into this. Then he's come in, and they've all played like that, and that's not his fault. Now, I'm not saying
whose fault is it?
I'm not,
you just think
no.
I'm
not saying that he's not contributed to the Man United side not playing well, but I don't think you can put everyone else not playing great on Ronaldo. I think he's just he's like I said, he's done what I felt he needed to do, and you know, if the manager's putting him in and that's their decision, then that's their fault, isn't it?
I think it's a little bit of both. So I know what Tank means, the culture that it creates.
No, I get that.
Yeah, the stamping of the feet. You see it now with a lot of the United players. I think they have a poor culture that runs throughout the club anyway at the moment, and they nearly get better getting shut of most of them. But I think it's the impact that negativity has on the players around him. But also I think they suffer a little bit with the kind of Lukaku syndrome. And I had a load of Everton, a lot of my family are Everton fans, and I spoke to them about Lukaku leaving, and they weren't bothered because it's nearly like Everton had to funnel everything through Lukaku, and if that went tits up, then there wasn't really a plan B. Lukaku will score goals wherever he goes, but it's like the team doesn't function as well because it's all funneled through him. And I think Manchester United, I'll probably get some stick for this, but if Manchester United went out and bought a really mobile, aggressive, young, dynamic forward and just went at teams with a fast front three, I think they'd have far more threat and penetration about them than they would with Cristiano Ronaldo demanding everything go through him.
Spot on for me.
I agree with that. But I'm not, Ronaldo we're not talking. I know he's 36, but he's still fit as a fiddle, isn't he? And I know he's not as high pressuring and that sort of stuff, but I think a lot of blame of Man United is being placed on Cristiano Ronaldo because it is Ronaldo. So, I'll always love Ronaldo. I'll defend him to the end. So.
Where does he go? Tank, could we potentially be looking at a Messi, Ronaldo, and Mbappe front three at PSG, or do you buy into any of these Chelsea rumours?
It's a bit similar to Chelsea. Chelsea's like, the Chelsea squad for me is a lot stronger than United's, but it's like, what benefit would Chelsea get out of him coming to sign there? Yes, look, he guarantees goals. He'll score 20 goals for Chelsea if he goes there, 20 league goals comfortably. But if you're looking to build a project where you've got to try and chase Liverpool and City down, who were streets ahead, Ronaldo's not that sign. And this is the same conversation what we had with United when United signed him. He's always going to score goals. He was never going to come in this league and not score goals because that's what he does. He's that good. But it's kind of like, it's not the right sign for me for Chelsea. Why would you go and get rid of Lukaku, who you're saying is not mobile and can't fit into the way we play, and then go and sign someone who's even less mobile than what Lukaku is because of his age? So I find it strange. PSG, their owners coming out saying that the glory days are finished and all people coming here for money. So if they come and sign him, it's kind of like, well, what I said last week, forget about that. We're going to go and get a 37-year-old to play up front with a 35-year-old.
Talking of signing, I suppose, older players. Christian Eriksen, Jim, has come out today and has decided to go to Manchester. I say older player, actually. I actually don't know how old he is. I just feel like he's been around forever. How old is he? He's probably about 29, is he?
Look at his hairline's going, lad. Don't be tight.
But he's been knocking around.
He's 30.
Jesus, I feel like he's been around forever. He's like a Taribo Westham, you know what I mean? He's been playing football since he was fucking 12. Christian Eriksen has decided to go to Manchester United. What's been your reaction to that news? Because I suppose it's a bit of a surprising one.
Yeah, I'm one of them. It's one of them. It's a meh signing. It's a free signing. They've got a decent player on a free. The board will be happy because they're not paying anything for him. They've probably doubled his wages to 150 grand, which to them is nothing. I think, I've got nothing. I've got no qualms about it, and I'm not excited about it. It reminds me very much of when Mata went to United. I'm nonplussed about it. I don't, he'll do all right, might score a few goals, get a couple of assists, but how that team sets up with him, and is he just a bit part player? Him and Fernandes will just swap in and around with the Europa League. I don't know, but. I think he's a good signing. I think he's still a great player and he did really well for Brentford. But, does he give you what United need to go and push on to the next level? I don't think so.
You're very worried about the Bruno dynamic, aren't you, Tank, between him, Eriksen? How do they all fit into the system?
Well, they play Bruno and him in midfield. They get relegated. They just get swamped and overrun. I mean, they're struggling in midfield now. I like Eriksen as a player. I've mentioned to you, lads, that I think Eriksen would have been a great little signing for Liverpool. When we're struggling to, teams are coming playing 11 behind and just throw them on the last 15, 20 minutes to unlock. But Liverpool, if him signed for Liverpool United, it's different. These are in a rebuild, and it's, for me, it's just I'm with Jimmy. It's like, okay, it's a typical Man United signing for me, where he's like, we're struggling to get someone in. Go and get anyone. He'll do. Grab him, get him in. Where's he going to play? Where's he going to fit in?
I think for me, it feels like they're scared of anyone else signing him.
Yeah.
Not to make, I'm surprised here, about to make a second Championship manager reference after the Taribo West one a minute ago. It kind of feels like one of those signings where you're looking at whose contract's up, who could you potentially, who could you potentially bring in for free? Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm like you, Tank, and Jim. I like Christian Eriksen. I think he's a good player. I think he's a smart player. I think he will have an impact at Manchester United. I suppose for me, it just what's the plan there? But like I've always said, and I've said this for it feels like 10 years. Man United need a dominant centre midfielder who can alternate between a 6 and an 8, who's going to get on the ball and drive, be aggressive, bit of a powerhouse. Like there's a list of players over the last 10 years that they could have gone out and signed, yet they seem so reluctant to do so. I still don't think at any stage of Manchester United addressed any of the problems that their team has. And I don't think this, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's designed to be a huge signing for them. It's just bringing in quality, a player who can keep the ball, you know what I mean? They've lost Mata, and I think United have a problem with ball retention and maybe lack a bit of creativity. So from that sense, it's logical. But Man United still need to do some serious business, Tank, no?
They do, but what I can't get my head around is why they've signed him. Why didn't he just keep Jesse Lingard? He'll score more goals than what he will, and will create more goals than him. Went to West Ham and ripped the Premier League to pieces. So if you're going to go and sign Eriksen, and I think he'd be on a right package there, by the way. He'd be on a monster signing on for you coming as a free, and he'd be on a lot of money.
I don't know.
Keep Jesse Lingard.
I would, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that he's going to give you.
Just keep Jesse Lingard. It's like
But on the flip side, Lingard's part of that toxic culture, isn't he? Within United, that Pogba, Lingard, Ronaldo, that culture where they probably want rid. And Eriksen's one of them who's got something to prove, hasn't he? So, I think.
Yeah, I get it, but it's just a typical United signing for me. They've got so much more needed to. Even get close. I mean, Arsenal have spent a right few quid. Tottenham and Arsenal have made some decent signings. So you're looking, if I'm a Man U fan here and I'm sitting thinking we need to get closer to Man City and Liverpool, you've got a mountain to climb to get close to Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham as the signing goes at the minute. A right back from Holland and Eriksen's not going to inspire anything for me to change United's fortunes. They've lost better players than them on free transfers.
Another big one, just to finish on Man United before we move on, the big question that's looming, or I suppose the big challenge faced by Ten Hag is the Harry Maguire question. Jim, what do you do there? Is it time? Is it stick or bust with Maguire? What would you do if you were the new manager?
I think you need to, Harry Maguire was decent up until last season. He's had a massive dip in form. So is your Ten Hag, and I don't know what his contract situation is. So, they won't want to lose another player on a free. So I think they will give him till January and see how he gets on under a new, and then rotate as a starter. Him and Varane, if Varane can stay fit, and then they'll bring in one of either Lissandra. I mean, they've been after that Pau Torres as well, and I think they'll bring in another defender to shake it up, but.
What do you do with him, though, Jim? What do you do with him?
He plays better in a 3, doesn't he? I think when he's played in a 3 for England and he's been able to sort of drive forward, and he's played better like that.
He's got more defenders.
He's got more defenders to cover him. Yeah. And then, but I don't think Ten Hag's going to play a 3.
No chance.
No. So you're just hoping that these new players give him that boost up the arse that he probably needs, and form is a tricky one, Tank. I mean, you've been there yourself where you've been going for an absolute shitter and you've no idea what to do to get out of it, and sometimes it just needs something that happens and you go, all right, actually I'm feeling this now. So I think you give him a go till January, and then if he's still in the form, then you got to look at elsewhere.
Yes, I mean, the lad's confidence for me is shot to pieces, but, you touched on form there. Listen, we've all had to run a form where you just can't do it, but it's 2.5 years now, him. He's been out of form for 2.5 years. So it's kind of like, but he's £85 million player on huge money. It's like another Man United disaster.
See, the thing with him, and this is where I was like, I don't understand why they didn't go and buy that dominant centre midfielder, because if you are probably like they have to stick with him for another season, go and buy a protector that will shield the back 4. If it's not going to be the change of system to a 3, which we probably say it isn't going to be based on what the manager likes to play, then go and buy that protector in midfield. So I know I say it a lot. Let's say somebody like a Declan Rice, or I know Calvin Phillips has just gone to City, but the likes of those who can cover those areas, that can stop a lot of problems before it even gets to Maguire. I just think Man United should be prioritising that. And it just feels like that there isn't a lot of joined up thinking at the moment. It just seems stopgap central. But I think that's a long.
Have you seen Scott McTominay?
Oh Jesus, where are you
Mate,
going
he's
with
a
this?
tank now.
Yeah,
Mate,
he needs to play football with it as well.
No, I get it.
Throw him a ball.
But mate, I don't know whether
throw Akinfenwa in the middle there for him.
All I'm saying is, look, he clearly had ability on the ball. He was very lightweight, wasn't he? And I think they're hoping that McTominay comes back and he's built up and he comes back a better player. I think that's why they might be holding off on a defensive midfielder, but I'm not Ten Hag. But
see, for me though, and I know what you're saying, they need more on the ball. It's not just the physicality. I think that's where Man United, you can nearly trust him and Fred to have the ball, and not much is going to come from those areas. So, be interested to see how it all pans out. Now, I want to move on to, I suppose, the next global star on the agenda, and that is Mo Salah. I was sat by the pool when Tank broke the news to me that Salah had signed his new deal. And I'll be honest, when he posted the link, I thought it was going to be that big black fella doing like a windmill with his Mickey, because it usually is when Tank posts something. But I'm pleased to report it wasn't a big black willy. It was Mo Salah signing a deal. So Tank, what was your reaction when you saw the news come through?
I'm just glad that you didn't post mine and Jimmy's conversation 2 hours before that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to bring it up, mate. Definitely.
But no, listen, I honestly, because me and Jimmy was actually talking, saying like he's not going to sign. I mean, this is literally an hour before it. He's like, but he's not going to sign now, is Jimmy? They're not going to pay him now. Why are they going to do it? They haven't done. But then all of a sudden, bang! Here's the news, and listen, it's great news, isn't it? Really, he's been as form dipped. We spoke about that. Yeah, it did dip the last 6 months. I believe that's maybe touch of fatigue and a touch of worrying about your contract. I've been in contract, not to this level, don't get me wrong, but I've been in contract negotiations during the season, and it does affect your performance because you're thinking, I don't want to get injured. If these don't want to pay me this, so what? I've got to make sure I don't get injured. I think it's great news. His stats, his goal involvement over the last 5 years since he signed for the club are absolutely off the charts, and I think I like the length of the contract as well, 3 years.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good idea.
Jim, I was obviously watching you two have that back and forth, and I
just want to put out there that Tank was agreeing with Robbie Fowler saying Salah was on the decline. By the way, just I'm putting that out there. I've got
you haven't got evidence of deleted it.
Tank was agreeing with Robbie Fowler, ambassador for Liverpool, who was getting paid to go, oh, Salah's on the decline, lads, we're getting rid. You don't want him anymore.
I think I threw it out there more. Said maybe he has a point. Maybe.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
and then an hour later, he's jumping up and down. Yes, Salah signed. Get in, lads.
To be fair, I did something similar. I think I tweeted something about let's be honest, I'm delighted Salah signed, but his agent's still a wanker. No one will convince me otherwise. That fella is an absolute tool. And it was more, there was part of me when I fell for the hook, line and sinker. If that was a coordinated wind up and the agent posting his little laughy emoji, it doesn't take much to rattle me when it comes to football. It rattled me, and I was like, I'll be happy. I'll be happy for Salah to walk as long as that agent doesn't get what he wants. And then literally within the hour, the announcements, I was like, okay, yeah, but the agent's still a wanker. And I'm delighted. Look, Salah's an unbelievable player. Jim, what does this signing signify to Liverpool fans and for me, maybe potential players that are looking to come in that Mo Salah is staying for the next 3 years?
You know what I think it does? I mean, don't get me wrong, Salah's unbelievable. I think it's a great contract for Liverpool and for him and for all involved. Like Tank said, 3 years. I think it's a great
350 grand a week's a big number, Jim.
It is, but it's only big for Liverpool. So my point is that what I think this will do is get that bloody wage cap monkey off Liverpool's back, because everyone's going on about, we can't break the wage cap, we can't do this, we can't do that, and now I think it'll just become second nature, and you'll carry on and you'll sign players who can demand that sort of money and get it. Because I think before you've always been worried about it, going, we can't break it. I think now you've done it. The money's there. No Premier League club is going cap in hand for money anywhere. So you've got the money, go and spend it. I think that's what will what the sign of Salah will do best for Liverpool.
Tank on that, because when Jimmy says it, right, I still get a little nervous because I have this little voice in the back of my head that Liverpool can't be a City, right? And sometimes it's going to sound weird when I say this. Potentially, stars can outgrow Liverpool in terms of the salaries that not the club in its size and its stature. But if you have Virgil van Dijk, you have Salah, Trent is up for renewal soon. You have all of these kind of top stars that are going to now be able to say, well, I want 200, I want 250, I want Liverpool, I don't think can maintain that wage structure across a wide range of players. So is there a worry, and we've seen it with other massive clubs, that once Mo gets his 350 grand, and I believe it's closer to 400 when you add on the incentives that Liverpool like to roll into the contracts, is it going to be a worry then that, the likes of a Trent Alexander-Arnold are going to give the manager, and not that I think Trent is the type, but the ripple, the trickle-down effect that it could have. Is that a worry?
It's a massive worry for me. I mean, I've always been one of them who always says about our owners, and we've had this argument where, like, they don't spend, we're always kind of, and I don't mean to go on the net spend route, but we're always kind of in or around profit Liverpool. And it kind of drives me mad. But then when you look at the success what we have, this is a worry for me. I'll be honest with you, although it's great he signed a deal. So my concern is if Nunes comes in and scores 30 goals this season, 35 goals next season, and the club want to turn down to a new contract, he's on 100 and whatever grand a week he is now, automatically his agent's benchmark is Mo Salah's on 350, 400, that's what we want. Well, you can't have that. Well, we've scored more goals than him, that's what we want. If Diaz comes in and, like, I've been reading some stuff about how Klopp's going to tweak his game and make him more potent and all this palaver. Now, if he hits the ground running again and scores goals in the next 2 seasons, and all of a sudden, it's the gay situation at Man United what concerns me. They put a goalkeeper on.
The gays. What did the gays got to do with this?
He wasn't on the list.
Bloody hell, mate. Leave him alone.
It's his situation at Man U where they've gone like a goalkeeper who's on £350,000 a week. So that's your benchmark. Rashford then renewed at Man United and was like, well, the goalkeeper's on 350. I'm scoring 20 goals a season. I want that. That's my big concern with Liverpool, where we've gone with this contract. But was it needed? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have to say I'm thrilled just because. Look, it's a worry. What are you laughing at, Jim? I looked away there. Were you pulling faces at the cameras?
No, look at his name.
David De Gea. Do you know what? When you said that, I started to get the titters, and I couldn't get rid of the giggles, and I could see that Jimmy had them too, and I managed to get away from it. And now you change your name to David De Gea. Love it. No, I think it's a massive signing for Liverpool. I hope to see now Mo Salah return into the form that he was in. I think he'll start the season fresh, revitalized, and ready to go, and hopefully can drive Liverpool on to some more trophies. I do want to come to another signing that has happened over the last couple of weeks, and I have to be honest, lads, this one, I think I'm missing something on this one. Maybe I am. Tank, Richarlison, 60 million to Spurs. Is it just me, or is transfers gone mad? Because I don't think he's a £60 million player at all. Oh, he's up to something.
Let Statman go a minute.
Okay. Statman Tank is up.
Since signing for Everton in 2018 season, Richarlison has the worst Premier League minutes per non-penalty goal ratio. Chris Wood, Salomon Rondon and Danny Welbeck have all got better goals, minutes per ratio, whatever it is, than him.
Wow.
I've always said this tease about him as well. I think he's just an okay Premier League centre forward, and them stats don't lie. There's my answer.
Jim?
I think you're you're not delving deep enough, Tank, for me. I think.
Has he got his Liverpool glasses on there?
He's got his Liverpool. Well, no, I don't know, to be honest with you. I was looking at, I did exactly the same for Richarlison on the stats. But don't forget that Richarlison often plays on the left or right behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
So does Mane.
Yeah, but if you're comparing Liverpool to Everton, mate, I think, it's completely different.
Look at Mane's record since when he was at Southampton. He scored more goals than Richarlison ever did, and that's why we signed him.
So we'll look at. I got the stats up, and what Richarlison's in the top percentiles of our blocks.
Lads, can I just say I'm very proud of you both here. You've come prepared with stats that we are going up.
Well, I knew Tank was coming in with it, giving him grease. So Richarlison's top on blocks, tackles, interceptions, pressures, clearances. He's quite high on assists, to be fair.
Fucking hell, is he a centre half?
Dribbles. Well, this is my point.
For, Jim? This is for Everton.
This is for Everton, mate, in the Premier League. So this is per 90. He's 99th percentile on blocks per game.
Brilliant.
So he's not playing as a striker, though, is he? No, my point is.
So you signed a 60 million goal scorer and he's going to block loads.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he plays a completely different game for Everton, as opposed to he will play at Tottenham. Now let's look at Richarlison for Brazil. Caps 36, goals 14. Okay, that's nearly 1 in 2. Now let's look at Bobby Firmino.
Jim, hang on a minute.
17 goals. So he's close to Bobby on Brazil goals and on less caps. So,
I think the Man United should have signed him to replace Harry Maguire.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's intercept stuff, he blocks stuff. I mean, listen, I get them stats, but what a crock of shit that is. So basically, when a team's playing out from the back, Richarlison gets a block on it.
So what I'm saying is, when he's playing for Everton, they're playing a completely different game. Everton I pulled up some more stats for you. Everton have a passing ratio of 73.3, completion of 73.3%, which is the third lowest in the Premier Division, right?
Have you written these stats down, Jim? Jesus.
Yeah, because I knew Tank was coming for him. 39.1% possession Everton had last year, on average. 39.1. So I don't know what you're expecting the kid to do. So the way that I look at it is look at his Brazil record when he's played up front.
He's playing half the time. He's playing against Iraq.
Yeah, and what about Firmino? He's 17 and 55.
The same.
So
Firmino's coming towards the end of his career. He's just starting. Since he's been in the Premier League, he scored 9 goals, 10 goals, 10. I think it was 13 was his best last year, was it?
13, 7 and 10 he's got.
There you go. Unbelievable. So you're saying his pass
had
ratio.
10, 11, and this is for Liverpool. Firmino had 10, 11, 15, 12. So what
about assists? How many blocks did he have, Firmino?
2. But the point is, you're not comparing apples with apples. Everton are not a great team. And I think him at Tottenham will play a completely different setup to he will at Everton. I think he'll shine. He's only 25, by the way.
I watched him. Listen, the reason why I dislike him so much as well is I watched him at Burnley the year when Marco Silva was the manager, was it? He was at Fulham now.
Yeah.
And me and our Jack were in the stand, and I watched him, and I was actually angry watching him. And I actually said to our Jack, if I was in the changing room with him, I'd knock fuck out of him. His manager's fighting for his life, for his job, fighting for everything. And he got sacked after that game, by the way. And his manager screaming at him, and he's just allowing the Burnley right back just to walk past. And he literally just walked, and I was going, that's everything what's wrong about football. And he got took off. He got took off at about 60 minutes. For me, he will not score more than 10, 15 goals.
Oh, 15. 15 is a good return. That's 1 in 2, mate.
For £60 million. But listen, he is a bang average football player.
Disagree.
On that note, lads, you mentioned Jack there, Tank. It must have been a proud day in the Rodgers household with Jack signing his deal for Burnley. How are you holding up, mate? How's the house? Is it quiet?
It's very quiet, mate. I'm a little bit devastated as well because I picked him up on Saturday. I was all excited to bring him home and everything. I had a laugh at him in the car, gets him home. And he said, will you take me to Chloe's? I went, what do you mean? He's gone straight to his girlfriend's. Then he went out with his girlfriend's for a meal on Sunday. He wasn't in training today until 11:45. I went, I'll take you on Monday morning if you want, mate. I'll get you down to go pick Frank. He went, no, I want to go back tonight. On Sunday, I was like, so it's half wounded me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, it sounds like Chloe can offer him things that you can't, Tank, to be honest.
Yeah. Spending the weekend with his bird or spending it with you, Tank? I know where
no. And
what happens on those days, though? What happens on those days, Tank? Like, what's the story? It seemed like a good day from the photos. They all get you down there.
No, it was brilliant, to be honest with you. you all go down there. There's all like the first year scholars there. The second year scholars are also there. Like you have the presentation. They tell you about what they're going to do for the kids for nutrition, sports science. The mental health, welfare. I mean, it's a proper setup. Honestly, I mean, I'd have loved to have all of this available when I was, coming through the ranks at the time. Then the coaches speak, and then you meet the living parents who they're going to be with. Then you have a bite to eat. Then you go and sign the contract, and you see the photographs, and the lads go down into the pitch. All of the first year scholars and the second year scholars, they all get the photos. It's a proper, like 3-hour night, and it was brilliant. I must be honest, it was superb.
And if you don't mind me asking, he's getting paid now. Then he's fully. He's not going to be knocking on the door for some pocket money.
Well, I don't know, mate. I got it for £100 yesterday to take his girlfriend to Ben Brazil because they were together a year. So I was a little bit like, still kind of. No, but true. But yeah, listen, he's on a good few quid, mate. To be fair to him, so good luck to the kid.
Delighted, lads. I want to finish on two things, right? It's transfer related because it's probably we're in the off season now, and I think pre-season started for a lot of clubs today. A couple of things I want to finish on, right? So transfers. I'll come to you first, Tank, and then Jimmy second, because it'd be good to get the non-league perspective as well. What goes into a transfer? Because Jimmy, you've made about 3,000 transfers in non-league at this stage.
In a month, probably.
In a month. Tank, you've made a few over your career. So Tank, like for those that don't know, obviously when you signed for Forest, you moved to Forest from Tranmere, I think, and obviously then you went on to Leicester, and I think you went. Was it on loan to Hull as well, wasn't it?
That was when it was on guard. That was it. Yeah, it was on garden leave there.
Garden leave. Okay, your mate Gary. But what goes into the how do you hear about the transfers? Is there little secret conversations that go on, and then I suppose agents, where when you were playing, where did they come into it?
Yeah, I mean, when I first, it was actually 25 years or 26 years to the day yesterday when I signed for Forest. Someone tagged me in a tweet.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a bizarre one because I was away in Mexico with Sharon, just and we just finished, and they never had mobiles back then, and the hotel, the
carrier pigeon.
Yeah, honestly, the hotel, the phone rang, and me and her are like, who's possibly ringing here? Yeah, so I picked it up, and I actually put the phone down to Paul White from Forest. I put the phone down and said, "Are you taking a piss, mate?" He went, "Alan, it's such and such from Nottingham Forest." I thought it was one of the lads. I'm going, "Yeah, you taking a piss, mate?" And I actually put the phone down. That's a true story. So that's how that come about. And they asked me to fly home and all that palaver. Then, you get your agents because the figures involved are quite, even today's with big figures. So, yeah, you get your agents involved. And basically, you just kind of, my agent at the time was kind of saying, well, the top paid teenager in Europe is on X amount, so this is what we're targeting, and then you kind of leave the negotiations to the agent. You've got
not give him a figure. You don't give him a figure.
Yeah, you've got a figure in your head. Like he told me what the top paid young, first team player in Europe is earning, and that's our target. And then you're signing on fees, and then you're talking about, we want you to get your accommodation, and we used to get. I don't know whether it was called like a stamp duty thing or something. We used a relocation package used to get. So all that palaver, which is kind of like you're not asked. You want the big move, you want the big contracts and all that, but then so from that side, you're just kind of there. You're going to get your medical done. You're in and out the hospitals, X-rays, all this, everything's getting done, and then you kind of come back and you are just waiting to see for the nod from your agents. I mean, mine took quite a bit. We were the medical was done, and then we're no, we're not ready yet. So you kind of hanging around and just fucking walking around a car park or going to get a coffee, to be honest with you, until the agent says, "I think we've got something. Do you want to come back?"
And what about you, Jim?
So it's different, wasn't it, in non-league? You'd use if you weren't on contract, then if you're a non-contract player, then any club can approach your current club for permission to speak to you. So they put in what's called 7 days notice. So after that 7 days is up, they then can give you a ring and offer you whatever it is that you want to offer, and then you make your decision on whether you want to go or not. If you're on contract, then it's very similar. The club, when I was at Leek and I was on contract, File contacted Leek, and it was an old manager anyway. So you often have them conversations around, do you fancy it or not? And then they put in an offer and they negotiate it, and we talked through what I wanted and what he was willing to pay me. But a lot of the time in non-league as well, it's always, oh, my mate plays for this team. Do you want me to have a word with the gaffer, or do you fancy it? That sort of stuff. So it depends on how and if you're playing and if you're settled. Really, that's how a lot of it comes about. It's just your mate moves and then you'll move with him, or a manager that you've played for moves and they'll put 7 days in and seeing if you fancy it or not, and might be able to offer you an extra £5.
We did that a couple of times, and then we in training they actually had to split me and Jimmy up. We weren't allowed to train together because we just
actually got split up in training.
And am I right in saying then, Jim? I suppose for those that don't know, if you're on contract, your money will be less than what it would be if you were non-contract and non-contract.
So if you're on contract, you're guaranteed money. So in non-league, you get a lot of games called off. So if you're on non-contract, you don't get paid for them. And also, you usually play Saturday, Tuesday. And when I first signed, I had no idea. And they're like, "Oh, we'll pay you £50." But it's £50 a week. I thought it's £50 per game. So I got my wages. Like, "Oh, we play Tuesday. Where's my wages?" And they're like, "No, it's per week, mate." A lot of the times, if your game gets called off on a Saturday, they will rearrange it for Tuesday. So you're losing money then. So if you're on non-contract, you're praying for sun, mate, and that's it.
Lads, just one final thing before we wrap up. It's been annoying me, right? What is this obsession with Jack Grealish going on holiday and having a good time? Why are the press bothering him so much? He's a young lad, successful, enjoying himself in the off-season. Tank, what is all this nonsense? Why are the press so obsessed with him?
Yeah, I think, what I think it stems down to? I think it was the state of Man City's title parade thing. I mean,
you don't think he helped himself?
I don't think he helped himself. Look, listen, I was, as soon as the off-season, that was it. Jordan, the fucking season, that was it. We were on the piss, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he helped himself, mate, because I looked at him with the Man City parade, like when they won the title, and I was like, you're kind of embarrassing yourself a little bit here. He's on the thing, he said, when they were talking about Carl Walker, no one gets past him, and he's like, grabs the mic, pissed up, saying, "That's why they signed me, I'm the only one to skin him." You're like, get back in your box, mate. You've had a fucking terrible season. And I don't think that he's helped himself. Look, he's a young kid. He's enjoying himself. I don't see what the problem is. He'll come back, he'll work his bollocks up. But I just think that title parade thing has kind of come back to bite him a little bit.
Jim, where do you sit on this?
I think Stan Collymore coming out and giving Jack Grealish giving grief is like Joseph Fritzl giving parenting advice to Jerry and Kate McCann.
Oh, jeez.
It's just, I can't believe he's even had the audacity to say anything. But look, mate, this is the problem, isn't it? A young man, load of cash, good looking, handsome, does what he wants in the off season. Look, mate, you go spend your cash, you go away. And if you come back in the in the pre-season and you're awful, expect it to bite you on the bum. That's his decision to make, though. That's no one else's decision. You can't ask for people to be banned, footballers to be banned from drinking. It's ridiculous. I think they're human beings first and footballers second. So, look, kid, have a bit of a laugh. Let him do what he wants. If he comes back and he's awful, then again, knock him down for that. And then if you want to link it to his pre-season, that's your prerogative to do so. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyone saying anything about anyone enjoying the life, no matter, unless you're a surgeon and you got surgery the next day, then yeah, you might have a word. But
I think the game's changed, though, a lot.
Oh, it has. I agree. I mean, I watched the Gary Neville, the thing he did with Steven Gerrard, and he was saying United were the first to adopt they cut the drinking culture out. That's why they got above everyone relatively early. Now, I get in the season, don't drink. I think Declan Rice, he's teetotal, and that's your prerogative. In the season, I very much doubt Jack Grealish will have a beer unless he's got permission. So he's not. I think he's a bit
of. I just think you look at all of the top players now on the social media sides or pictures where they get caught. 99% of them are fucking training. They're in the gym. Where Grealish is kind of like Whose phone's that?
You know, what's going on there, Jim? Do you want to tell him
It's
to
not
do
me.
one? Who is it?
It's
It's
you.
not
Why
me.
is your arm out there? Don't pretend it's not you.
No, it's not
lad.
me. Okay.
I've
I
not
was
got a
expecting
phone.
someone to click it off, and then I thought your arm slid
It's
to try
not
and
me.
turn it off.
You're here holding your arm. I thought you were
Who's
holding
getting
your
the
phone away.
It's Stan Collymore ringing me, asking me for Jimmy's number. He said, "Who's this cheeky fucker?"
So someone's getting the shepherd's hook, and no one wants to admit it. The missus is on saying
It's
we've
not
been on
me,
for too
mate. I
long.
guarantee you it's not me.
Right, lads, with that, we've been doing nearly an hour, so I could have done another half an hour there, but I've had about 3 kids already try to run up the stairs. Someone's going to bomb this at some point, so we'll wrap it up there. Lads, great to be back on. We're
Cheers,
going to be doing this every Monday now moving forward, and if we can throw in little shorter shows as well throughout the week, if time permits, we'll definitely be doing that. You're both up for that, yeah?
Yes, mate, no problem.
With all the stats.
With all the stats. It's becoming a stat show now. I like it. Right, before we go, quick shout out. If you wouldn't mind, if you're listening and you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, if you can do so, we're on the hunt to try and get 1,000 subscribers. I think we're nearly at 800 now, so we're not a million miles away. But as we've promised on past podcasts, we will be doing live shows on YouTube when we get to 1,000. That'll just mean that you can come on and have a chat with us, and we can kind of let the comments fuel the shows until, as we say, Tank gets us banned. So, yeah, please do subscribe if you haven't. I'll make sure to link everything. With that, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your week. Look after yourselves, and we will be back with you next week on the Boot Room Podcast. All the best.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Shout out to the Degays.
All the keys.